obsessed with the Connie Pheiff Show. It's about a lifestyle shift to move up or out.
Hey, what's your jam? What's the one thing that really drives you? What makes you unstoppable?
It's about opening a new door to live your dream.
People give up way too early on their dreams.
It's about enjoying the journey. It's about keeping it real.
Damn, now the interviewee is interviewing the interviewer. I like this.
It's all about you.
I knew there was something else I wanted to do. Stop taking shit so seriously. Y'all can do this. Take an outrageous look at life and laugh.
This is the Connie Pheiff Show.
We love your voice. We love your jam. You need to be on radio.
And now your host, Connie Pheiff.
Hi, everyone. It's Connie Pheiff, and welcome back to the Connie Pheiff Show. If we were doing this live, we'd be an hour and a half late because our guest and I today have just been chatting away for the past hour and a half, but we're just getting going with the show, with this recording. And it's like, we're just two old girlfriends just hanging out. Jill, we need a glass of wine. And then we'd have this perfect, right? So today we have with us Jill Tupper, and she is a keynote speaker, a leadership innovator, an executive coach, and so much more that I'm going to be sharing with you throughout the show. So right now, let's welcome into the studio, Jill Tupper.
Hello. It's so good to be here.
Jill, it's so nice to meet you.
So great to meet you. It's been such a joy already.
You are doing some really incredible, just amazing work. And that's what really inspired me before we got on today. When I seen some of the things that you've been doing, you're an outdoors person who has brought that into the work you're doing as a lifestyle entrepreneur. And when we say lifestyle entrepreneur, we always say to folks, when you do this, you're able to live where you want to live, which you and I are both doing, work where you want to work or work with who you want to be working with, and make the kind of money that you want to be making, which means basically you're in control of your life and no one else is in control of it for you. So you have all of that responsibility. So how's that been going?
Nice lead in, Connie. It is not for the faint of heart.
Right.
I do have a keynote that I call Goals, Guts, and Grits. And basically, you've got to have the goal to be the entrepreneur, to really go after your passion. And so that's number one is the goal. But then you have to have the guts to go for it, which is this dive in, right?
Right.
I'm going to do it at all costs. I'm going to do it. But then the final part, you may have the goal, you may have the guts, but then it takes the grit. And that is the hard part. That's the resistance, that's that resilience, that's the staying the course no matter what. And you talk about that, Connie, that people give up right at the moment. And everyone's been tempted to do that. So
everyone. I remember now I've been doing this 13, almost 14 years. I've been on my own. And of course, before that, I was CEO at an organization. So I always laughed that I had somebody to always do it for me. I just had to show up and look pretty and do what I did best. And I remember when I was in this for maybe 2.5 years, and I decided, okay, this is not working. So I am going to hire myself a coach. And I did. And who happens to be in Nashville, Tennessee. Those who know that I love Nashville. And his name kept coming up to me over and over and over again. And I just kept saying, no, I don't need anyone. No, I could do this myself. And then when somebody said he's based in Nashville, and I went, oh, I got to go.
Awesome.
I got to go there. But I remember I went at the time I was living in Pennsylvania. So again, a lot of years ago, I was in Pennsylvania. And I said to my husband, I said, you go home. I'm going to Tennessee. I'm driving to Tennessee. And basically for the business, I had no money left. I had gone through it, going to seminars, going to programs. And he's like, well, where are you going? Where you're staying? What are you doing? I said, I don't know. I'll figure it out when I get there. I literally
guts in there.
You're right. I jumped in my car. It was a Sunday because I had called him, his name, Dan Miller, and I called him on Friday, and he's like, "Oh, we just happen to have a program that we're doing starting Monday, our intensive program." And I was like, "I'll be there." And so I jump in my car on Sunday. I drive the 13 hours to get there, and I remember having a conversation with him. It might have been a 15-minute conversation. And I said, I've been doing this for 2 years. I have the goals. I have the guts. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. But he said to me, and it changed my life. He said, really? He goes, but are you all in, or do you just have a toe in the water?
Wow.
That changed my life. And I went, I'm all in. Like, nobody's going to tell me any different.
That's right.
I'm all in. And I get back in my car and I drive home. And it changed everything. So like what you're talking about, you have the goals and the guts, and do you have that grit?
That was the grit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you have that grit to say, you got to do this? You have this in you. And that's what I always say. I talked to somebody just on Friday, one of our clients. She was a previous client, and she's sort of still trying to figure things out. And so I spoke with her on Friday. She's like, I don't know, maybe I should just give up. I said, no, that is not what you want to do. They said, you have to dig deeper. And I think that that's what you're saying with your programs.
Oh, I totally agree in that. And it's an exhausting piece to one degree, but at the same time, you've just got to know that you can't go another direction, and you just got to continue to pour yourself in, because it's little by little and all of a sudden.
Yes.
It's always little by little. And all of a sudden, but we see the all of a sudden and we think, oh, amazing what happened for that other person. That never happened for me, but we didn't see their little by little by little by little by little by little by little.
Right.
Along the way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those overnight successes come in about 20 years.
Right. Exactly right. Exactly.
But you will have those moments of success along the way.
That's right. To affirm and just remind you that is your goal and where you're meant to be. Absolutely. Right. But it is not for the faint of heart. And you do need a tribe. You do need a tribe of people who say, yes, you can. I see you. But people that have gone to the mat, have the grit.
Right.
And the resilience and are continuing to move forward. That's really important.
So the programs that you have, the one program that you have that really caught my eye is Body, Mind, Business. That would, because, you have a lot of people talking about body, mind, and soul, or body and mind, or you just have people talking about business. But like we've been saying, for business and to be strong in that business and have the grit, you need to have the right, state of mind, and you need to be fit. I don't want to say physically fit, like you don't want to be out there like the Iron Man. You have been, but
not quite.
but to be physically fit also enables the fitness of your mind as well.
Yes. Oh, you're so spot on with that, Connie. You're just right on. So anytime I've taken on a new challenge, this all is birthed from my own experience. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't a kitschy, cool way to say it.
Yes.
It's what I've really lived. Not perfectly, by the way, which we've talked about. None of this is all that pretty sometimes.
Right.
But goals, guts, and grit are not always beautiful.
Right.
It is hard work, and it's sweat, and it's putting yourself out there. But I would say that for me, when it comes to body, mind, business, anytime I want to make a shift, I almost always have to shift my physical body first. And why is that? Well, when you shift the physical body, do one thing that's going to do some kind of a shift, it becomes this chain reaction into the rest of you. And it's the easiest thing to see.
Yes.
Right? It's the easiest thing to begin to recognize that there's a shift. But the reason I connect this as, and I call it conquer crisis, train like a triathlete, body, mind, business.
Right.
So when you tackle a triathlon, you are typically, and we talked about this, and you're typically great at one sport. Okay. You may be a great runner, and then you're pretty good at biking, but then you suck at one of them, right?
Right.
So you're not great at all three. So it's got a humbling process in there. So you only train for one, right? No, train for all three.
That's right. You're going to be in it.
Even in the one you are not good in.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you train, if you're wise, for the transitions between the three. That's a whole nother aspect to the sport. So when I see things visually like that, so once I've done 7 tries, they're just sprint tries. They're not Ironmans or the full sprint tries. And I begin to recognize, okay, that makes sense to me of what I'm dealing with in my own life, right? Because I am an entrepreneur. I do have a calling. I see who I am and what I'm meant to be. At the same time, it's going to take a lot to get there. And I've got to train my body and my mind to work in sync. Yeah. And then for my mind and body to work in sync, I need to bring in my business. So I've worked with countless CEOs, YPO executives, and what I find is they may have even achieved a high level of success, but they're like, oh my gosh, my mind and my body are totally out of whack.
Right.
They're even questioning some of the same questions you and I ask each other as entrepreneurs. Like, oh, will I ever get there? I'll never be enough. It's just, there's never enough of me to make this happen. And so the mind is really an amazing space, but it must be trained to align with what you really want. And that is, and people say, well, Jill, I tried it a couple times, and I go, okay. And it didn't stick. So I just ran a couple, I don't know, a handful of miles. And then I did a triathlon. No, you train again and again.
Right.
And when you bring the mind and body into sync, where you are really in that present moment, you can catapult the business, the insight, the wisdom, the courage.
Yes.
Right. To stay the course and go the distance. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes total sense. And you know what? And when I know for me, and because I haven't been working out these last couple of months because we're been battling, right? Nobody has, right? Really, we're getting all the COVID-19. I can sense that difference. I can definitely sense that difference that it's making. And I just made a commitment that I am going to do it this week. Even if I can't go to a gym, I'm going to do it here. So
and to be really frank, I mean, you're not alone. This whole COVID thing, I'm talking to really motivated athletes. I struggled in that as well.
Yeah.
Our routines were knocked out.
Right.
We were sent into the place of fear and panic.
Yes.
And again, that is all about the sympathetic system that's supposed to, like the red phone, freak you out.
Right.
Protect you, right? The mind is protecting you by setting off the alarms. But we can't sustain and be in that sympathetic system, fight, flight, and freeze.
Right.
And that's what happens when you are in this crazed time for a period of time. And that's what's going on with people.
Yes. So, and you are taken out of that routine.
Yes.
Right.
And spinning in chaos.
Yes.
No one knew what was coming. So this is about, okay, what grounds you with a level of certainty. I've worked a lot with people right now is, one of the interviews that I've done recently, he was saying, oh, Jill, as a CEO, how can I harness all this hard energy that my employees are putting in? And I said, you can't. Because it's the sympathetic system. They're in fight, flight, and freeze. They're terrified of doing their job. They're overfunctioning, and burnout is on the way.
Yes.
So when we take care of our bodies as well as our minds, that shifts us into the parasympathetic system.
Right. Right.
A little rest, a little digest, a little reset, re-energizing.
Yeah, and it's really up to those leaders to give them to be empathetic with them.
Right.
So they don't have that fear of losing their position and going into, like you said, the fight or flight mode, because that's really what happens. So as leaders, we need to do that. And with our label, with Talent Concierge, we actually had companies calling us and asking if we had trainers that can create virtual videos, training for the mind, training for, proper eating and, this physical exercise, something that they can be doing every day. So companies were looking at that. And again, because a lot of people, the routine of going to a physical location, a lot of people cannot be an entrepreneur. They need that set of routine. And now that they're working and, at home, whether it's at the kitchen table or from their bedroom, they also have kids there that they're teaching from school, or they have, mom or dad that's living with them and taking care of them. So, so now you have this person that has all of this coming at them, plus wanting to make sure that their job is secure on top of it. So a lot of people are living in that space right now.
And especially entrepreneurs.
We were
already taking leaps of faith, right?
Right.
Exhausted. And that's what I've explained to a lot of people. Everyone already, I shared this with you earlier. People already were in the highest level of stress, the highest that I've ever seen. Every single talk I've ever done has had a lot to do with stress to some level in there. People are already over the top.
Right.
And COVID spun us into.
And now throw that on top of it. Yes.
Right. And what I shared with you earlier, we are in an ultra Ironman right now. And nobody trained for.
Right.
Nobody signed up for.
Right.
And by the way, there's no finish line in sight.
Mm-hmm.
So we have got to train in the midst of the chaos and the uncertainty to move forward, like you are bravely continuing to set a course that not only are you unstoppable, you're challenging others to be the same.
Yes. And that's, and hopefully we can do that. That's just been my goal throughout all of this. If I can use my voice to help other people to continue moving forward, to be unstoppable, and not to live so much in that space of fear. And people like you, myself, others like us who do have a voice, if we can do that, if we can help just change one life, that would be just the most power, the power that we have in our hands that we can do and help for other people. I think that should be our goal for what we do. And I hope that I could do that every day. The Connie Pheiff Show is heard everywhere. You can find The Connie Pheiff Show on most of your favorite networks. It's time to now recognize and thank our major networks for all of their support. In the house, we have Conscious Business Radio, C-Suite Radio, Transformation Radio, iHeartRadio. We are also heard on Google Play, Apple, Radio, Stitcher, and so many more that I just can't keep up with them all. I'm Connie Pheiff, your Unstoppable Diva. Learn more about our gym and how we can work together at my fancy schwanky website, ConniePheiffShow.com. I'll see you over there. Until then, like, share. Now back to the show. So what makes you unstoppable?
This may sound canned or trite and rehearsed, but it's really connecting my body, my mind, bringing those into sync, and my business. I know that maybe just sounds like I just am doing a commercial. I'm really not. There is no other way for me to stay unstoppable, but to be training all aspects of myself, seeing and reminding myself of the calling that I believe is greater than all of us, that we are only one part of a much greater piece. So it's never about my own individual survival. It's about thriving for all of us.
Yes.
And so I would say it's those practices that on a consistent basis I do. Again, not perfectly ever, but I stumble and bumble through it and train myself to stay in sync as best I can, to show up and be present for not only what I know my day has stacked, but also the unexpected that comes. And one of the ways I get energy to be unstoppable is by imparting either inspiration or strength in another. Because when it's always about me, it's, I think there's an energy drain there for us.
Yes. I want to pull something out. And you've said it a couple of times, but I think it's really important for our listeners to hear that we need to be perfectly imperfect.
Yes.
And don't allow that to stop you from showing up.
Yes. In fact, not only just perfectly imperfect, have fun with it. I mean, you're right anyway.
Right. And if you're an entrepreneur, or a little bit of the crazy ones. So, so
what
that
balls are dropping. I don't know one entrepreneur that doesn't have a ball that's been dropping, right?
Oh,
beating yourself up. Then what does it do to the mind? It also cuts down the energy there. And instead of never going to do all of it well, and Connie knows, I mean, I've got an executive assistant, and thank God, because she catches balls that I drop.
Exactly. Oh, exactly. Mine as well. And, unfortunately now I have my husband working in the business with us. And I have to say, he definitely not only picks up the balls, but he's also gets me chasing after balls and saying, this is where you need to go. This is where you need to go. So I'm just fortunate. And again, he was corporate executive himself. So, he brings that to us. So he's, he sees things that I don't, and I'm vice versa. So it makes a great team. And the other thing too, and I think COVID has actually reminded us of this. We don't have to be in this alone. Have a great team around you that can pick up or just take notice of some things that maybe we overlook or sometimes don't even give ourselves credit for. Again, we may have tripped and stumbled and did something. And I had a situation a couple of years ago, and it crushed me. It literally crushed me to where I felt that at that point, I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I just can't do it, because then the critics were there waiting to pounce all over you. Right. So, I sat with it, and with a lot of margaritas, but I sat with it. And then I said, no one is going to do this to me.
Good.
And no one is going to shame me into something that was a mistake that I didn't realize was a mistake. So someone is not going to shame me, out of this. And I came back, and again, we've been stronger than ever. So
amazing. And no one can actually shame you unless we receive pain.
Right.
So again, that's really important to recognize, as we don't have to receive it. And that's from someone who's totally received shame too.
Right. Yeah, we've been both single moms, and we've had that too. But let's move on from that. So if there was a song about you, what would it be?
Oh, okay. It has to be from The Greatest Showman, This Is Me.
Oh, I love that song.
Watch out, where here I come.
Oh, we could start dancing.
I know.
Love that.
You know what? I am brave. I am brilliant. I am who I'm meant to be. This is me.
This is me. I love it.
Perfectly perfect.
I think we need to make that our theme song.
I love that.
I do. I love it. So, Jill, you've climbed Kilimanjaro. You've worked with Mother Teresa. I'm going to go down your list now, not to embarrass you. You've worked with Mother Teresa's Missionary of Charity in Calcutta in Ethiopia. You've run marathons, triathlons. You're bringing neuroscience and adventure together, which I love, all to decrease resistance to change and create lasting transformation. Now, some of the companies that you've worked with, Fortune 500 organizations like Boeing, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Amex. You're a YPO presenter. You're an instructor at the Ratty Center for Executive Development, UCSD, and Channel 5's media expert. You're a humanitarian. I mean, you from Italy, Russia, Nicaragua, Africa, Mexico, India, Costa Rica. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So it is evident that your programs, all about getting in sync, is essential to peak performance. So let's start closing up with, where does someone begin to get in sync?
You begin by recognizing what you are already doing, to stay in sync. You must start there, because if you go to that long list of what you're not doing, the brain shuts down and you will be thwarted. So, and it cannot be a long list. Simple, simple, simple. What rises to the top, one little inkling you've been knowing that you were meant to do, whether it's even just a little bit more, like you drink more water every day. Stick with that one thing. And then there's such a thing as dry brain, and there's such a thing as that affects energy level. It affects digestion. It affects the way you think and the way you process. So that one thing can shift, and you stick with one thing. And I've got little stickies that are called stick to it, stick to this, right? Because you just stick with one thing. And then I would say you need to shift the mindset to align. And instead of all the things you're not doing, what's one thing you're doing well, and what's one thing you know is true about you? Not always, right? Because it's never an always, but don't discredit. And when you get clear about that, and you, like, I know I love people, and I love all kinds of people. And I know that if I walk into Starbucks, or I walk into, for my coconut milk vanilla latte, in case you need to know, Connie.
Hang on, let me write that down.
Or the grocery store, I want to show up and be present. And I want to impart some level of strength and energy to them and see them. And I'm telling you, people ask me about it all the time. And I've done it a long time ago. I got awakened to this because I was so about my own agenda. But every time I'm blessed almost more in the process. And so I think doing something that's something I validate myself for. Do I do it perfect all the time? Or sometimes I'm a little selfish and don't want to, I'm sure. But I want to say, you know what? I'm grateful that I care about others enough to notice people that maybe just be in the background and invest something in them. So I'm proud of that about myself. And so you want to affirm something and then ask for more, right? But the mind is going to naturally go to the negative.
Yes, that will.
There's a little bit of an unwinding process here. And I know you want a quick fix, but no pressure on yourself. What's the inkling that you need to do to begin to bring the mind and body into sync, which will strengthen everything you're doing in your business.
So what's next? Where do you go from here?
Where do I go, or we all go?
Where do we all go from here, Jill Tupper? Tell us.
Camp Everest. That's in my...
Okay.
Machu Picchu sounds good. I think where we all need to go today is we do need to conquer crisis. There is no finish line in sight. So instead of buying into fear, and there's 1,001 reasons to be fearful, even pre-COVID.
Yeah.
I really encourage you, all of us, each day, if you are safe, remind yourself you're safe, and do everything you can to shift into the parasympathetic system, the system that is about rest, digest, re-energizing yourself, because we all need to be a part of the answer.
Yes.
So it's never just about one of us. And again, survival is about one. Thriving is about all.
Ooh,
and
beautiful.
How can we wrap our arms around each other, strengthen one another, lift one another? It's happening all over the globe, which is so inspiring.
Yes, it is.
Not getting the airtime that the divisiveness is.
It's not happening enough, right? It's happening, like you said, it's not being seen.
It's not getting the airtime.
And it's not getting the airtime.
It's not getting the airtime. So do everything you can to not just be positive to yourself.
Yes.
You are worth it.
Right.
You are worth it. And find a way to reach out to someone else so we all thrive.
Well, Jill, where can everybody find you and learn more about your programs?
Oh, JillTupper.com. Just come see me there. I'd love to hear from you. Jill at Jill Tupper is my email. LinkedIn, you can get a sense of what we've done. we're going, but we would love to make an impact, whether it's a keynote, whether it's executive coaching, whatever you're needing. We want to help people move forward in the leadership space because we're all leaders and we're all leading someone in our lives. So
amen.
Let's join hands and strengthen one another in the process.
Absolutely. Well, Jill, I want to thank you for being here. It has been so much fun talking to you for the last 3 hours. This has been so much fun. Love having you. And we need to have you back on the show so we can continue our conversation. Well, everyone, that's all we have for today. I hope that you enjoyed our show and got to know Jill Tupper as much as I did. But again, thanks for being here. Thanks for continuing to watch the Connie Pheiff Show. And this week, and not just this week, always be kind to yourself. Always be kind to each other and get in sync and learn more about Jill Tupper at jilltupper.com. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hey, y'all, it's Connie Pheiff. Thank you for listening to the Connie Pheiff Show. Check back often. You don't want to miss any of the good stuff. If you like what you hear and would like to be a guest on the show, head over to theconniefeifshow.com to apply. While you're there, check out our amazing advertising opportunities that will put you right in front of your perfect client. I will see you over there. Do yourself a favor this week. Activate your power and be unstoppable together.